I'm sure I don't have to tell you that a lot of university students are now going to ChatGPT and they're using their using these AI services to write their essays. Aren't you worried about that? Do you think it's not an issue? Do you think as a society we won't be massively impacted by this? Our ability to think and be critical and to express our ideas and perhaps be tolerant and all have this level of humility because as you said, if you write something down, you'll realize the holes in your knowledge. But if you're going to an AI, which can probably just reaffirm your views or not test your views really, perhaps this skill gets lost.
Certainly, if you're Elon Musk, it'll reaffirm your views.
Yeah.
If it's Grok. Um, so I think anything one says about AI in the future now is just speculation.
Mm,
But I do think there's something I I think there are probably some workarounds with writing and things like that. But I do think the thing that we really have to worry about getting lost is creativity.
mm,
Creativity, because we need a leap beyond where we already are. That is, if I can learn how to do the simple, if in order for me to do complicated math problems, I had to learn how to do simple ones. Then
mm,
I had to learn how to do somewhat more complex ones, right? Then I was up to a level in which they were so complex that I had to break them down into several different ones and solve them each separately, right?
mm,
And sometimes I could solve a couple, but not all of them, right?
mm,
And the really creative people were people who could break them down and solve all of them, and then actually say, "Oh, I see another potential problem that now that I see the solution, I see that this problem we've been working on, that everyone's been wanting an answer to, isn't really the most fundamental problem.
mm,
The most fundamental one is a little off from that,
mm,
right? That's not that skill is ubiquitous. It's not everywhere in the population, but it's distributed widely across the population. You know, and I think if we just are looking for answers to questions, right, rather than looking for the questions that the answers provide, right, the next questions,
mm,
that's what makes real progress,
mm.
right?
So yeah, so
Yeah,
well,
you can't, uh, and I worry that that skill has to be nurtured in people, that kind of inquisitiveness of wanting to be able to do it on your own and then say, well, no, I'll do the hard stuff on my own. I get the simple answers. I just don't have to waste time on them anymore. I could do it through AI or something like
Mm.
that. I could do it all the way up to level N through AI. But for after N, O and P and Q, I'll do that. Well, if I didn't learn how to work up through N, the chance that I'm going to be able to think of what O is, what the problem really is at O, pretty slim.
Mm.
yeah.
Pretty slim.
So one should take a opposite approach of working through N and then using AI to go to O.
You can't because you have to prompt it by what? Saying, what's the most surprising question that arises as a result of this solution to this problem?
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, the problem's not been solved before. Or how would how would an AI respond to that?
Yeah, and it's
It's an amalgamator.
expected. Like the question it'll find is maybe a very AI
Mm.
question, whereas a human could somehow think of a different question. But while we're on AI, I wanted to ask you. I saw this clip of Sam Altman talking about how now with ChatGPT, all of these people are, confiding in it, talking to it like a
On a
therapist
personal basis,
on
yeah,
on
like
a
a
very personal
therapist.
basis, and he was talking about how there needs to be legislation that needs to be developed because when you go to a therapist or you go to your doctor, there are certain laws in place to protect you, in courts
Confidentiality.
and stuff like this. But today, AI has no such legislation, and everything you share, there's no law around it.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of questions that are asked, and the legislation needs to evolve.
Well, the funny thing about legislation, it usually is a response to yesterday's problem.
Right.
Mm.
So does that mean
Very,
we have to face the problem? We'll have to
yeah,
face the
we
problem
don't,
first.
yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
Yes, it's a version of we'll legislate on that issue when we face the problem,
right. Right.
right? Which is a problem. And the incentives are all wrong. You should know that from economics. The incentives, political incentives in a voting population is for legislators to reward the present and pass costs on to the future. Because
Mm.
no one in the future is voting for them. The
Hmm.
people who are or are not voting for them are the people now.